Well, there's obviously nothing I can say to somebody like Limp Loser, and I imagine lots of people are like that. I mean, he understands sometimes. He's made comments. He's shown me that he understands what I'm talking about, but then can make this comment again. So I imagine everybody is out there going, oh yeah, that sounds logical. Yeah, that's all right. And then...
Well, come on. You gotta be kidding me, right? Your surprise and chagrin at this situation, quite frankly, amazes me. Because if what you're saying is true insofar as the universe being determinist and free will being completely illusionary, then how could you possibly imagine that you could change anyone's thinking or cause them to change their mind if it's not a choice on their part to begin with? And, perhaps, you think, well, they seem to understand. Well, maybe he does understand. He just doesn't happen to agree. People do have genuine differences of opinion. Just because someone doesn't agree with you doesn't mean they don't understand what you're saying. It just means they don't agree. I mean, it's going to happen. People are going to not agree with you. I mean, you got like 1,000 fucking subscribers. You got to figure sooner or later somebody's going to go, well, you know what? I think that's bullshit, Nick. And here's my pat argument for why I think it's bullshit. La da la. I don't know. It's funny because, when you talk about how, it all just sounds so normal. Yeah, it is normal. I mean, in your own speech patterns, in what you say, you make reference to the idea that you have some kind of free will yourself. Like, I'm thinking about not making these videos anymore. I don't know, maybe I'll keep making them, maybe I'm not. Oh, do you have a choice then, Nick? Are you somehow above or aside the rest of us? No. I don't think that you're trying to say that. So the idea that, they're somehow going to have this effect that people are going to go, oh, wow, it's a completely determinist universe and I don't have a choice in anything. Oh, I see that you're totally right, Nick. Yeah, no, that's not gonna fucking happen, man. And in your model, your determinist model, it's completely impossible. Unless the intrinsic logistics of the determinist process dictate that person change their mind at that point. Any input from you notwithstanding. I don't know. I actually did a video about the logical fallacy of free will myself. I might attach it here or put it in the sidebar or something, in case you're interested, where I talked about, from a religious standpoint, from a determinist standpoint, from the framework of modern or contemporary physical theory, at least since Einstein, which is more of a probabilistic framework, and how even using that, it doesn't really help in regards to free will, that it still comes up as a logical fallacy. But having said all that, just because something's a logical fallacy does not necessarily make it untrue. And now I know that sounds crazy, but logic is a great tool, but it is not the end-all, be-all of human thought. And I think a lot of people get caught up in this idea that if it's not logical, then therefore it cannot be true. I don't think that's necessarily right. I think that that's one of the points that one of the most oft overlooked points of George Orwell's 1984. Because, from a completely logical and rational perspective, Oceania was the perfect state. And for that matter, Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, once again, logically, it's the perfect state. But would you want to live in either of those states? I would wager you probably wouldn't like it very much. You'd probably think it was really horrid. That's why they're called dystopian. novels and not utopian. Because obviously there are concerns outside of logic. Because we're not computers. We're not, it's funny because you use models like that sometimes for the human brain, but we are not computers. We're not strictly logical. We are emotional beings as well. And sometimes, we do things that are completely outside of any rational framework for reasons that we can't always explain, not even to ourselves. Now, we can rationalize them afterward. In fact, there is an argument that says that all of our reasoning is just an attempt to rationalize the way in which we behave so that we can fool ourselves into thinking that we made a free choice when in fact that's impossible, which may be so, may be the case entirely, but it's not necessarily. I don't think that someone disagreeing with you necessarily means that they don't understand. It's just like maybe they just don't agree. But I mean, personally, I think as far as sorting it out for yourself, I think part of that process is making these videos and posting them on YouTube. That's part of your process of sorting it out for yourself. And if you feel it's a necessary part of that process, then you should continue. And if you, at this point, feel it's no longer a necessary part, or it's become, what's the word I'm looking for, destructive to that aim and that goal, well, then quit doing it. My ultimate question to anybody and everybody about their belief system and the way they practice it is your myth working for you? And if it is, then carry on. And if it's not, then maybe you need to make yourself a new myth. I guess that's all I got to say about that. I just wanted to bring up the point that, the idea that you're somehow going to change people's thinking or, it's kind of, I can understand hoping for the best, but you should expect the worst. Stuff like this comes up. I wouldn't be at all surprised or bothered by it, or to put it in the modern vernacular the kids use these days. I ain't bothered. Look at my face. Do I look bothered to you? No, because I ain't bothered. I guess that's all I got to say about that.